What it do, YouTube? Thank you for coming back to another Perks Pod podcast. As you can tell by the title, we're going to be talking about some interesting things. Basically, in my eyes, some misconceptions about relationships. A lot of things that people get a little twisted. Before we get started, please like and subscribe my channel. For those who are looking at on TikTok Live, I do have a channel. Perks Pod podcast is on Perks Corner. Perks Corner is the name of my YouTube channel. Please subscribe and like. Doesn't cost you anything. Might take you a few minutes. Just helps me out. Anyway, just to get into it, I have my notebook again because it definitely helped me stay on topic last podcast, and it helped me stay on track. So, the biggest relationship misconceptions. I'm going to keep it to the point, short and sweet, and I'm going to go through, there's 6 things I want to talk about, and I'm going to go through it in order of importance. So, number 1 I want to talk about, and this goes for any relationship, friends, actual, like, significant others, parents, whatever. Gifts and favors are not the same thing. Gifts and favors are not the same thing, and I think that needs to be solidified at the beginning of whatever you're doing for someone, whether it's a gift or whether if it's a favor. A gift does not need to be reciprocated, because that's exactly what a gift is. It's a gift. You give it to someone out of the kindness of your heart, and you don't expect anything back. Favors, however, favors are like loans. You give them out, and you expect the payment back. Maybe sometimes with interest, sometimes not. So a lot of things that happen, and I've had this happen with acquaintances and friends in the past, when someone does something for you and they don't make it known to someone that they're expecting payment back, or that they're going to see this as a deed that they expect to be reciprocated when their time comes. So someone will do something for someone, and then maybe like 5 months later, something will come up and be like, hey, bro, can you spot me with this? Or can you help me with this? Be like, well, I can't really do it at the moment. And it was like, well, remember when I did this for you? I think you should, help me out. That right there is favor mentality without the communication of the fact that that was a favor. Because if at the beginning you do something for someone and you're like, yo, I'm doing this for you, just know that, this isn't something that I want to do often as far as just giving it out to you. So just know that I expect, the same energy back. And a lot of times I would say this is the biggest thing, is probably money wise. This is the biggest thing with money. Like if I give something out, like if we're out and we're eating and one of my friends be like, damn, I ain't got my wallet or I ain't got money on me. I'm gonna be like, bro, don't worry about it. I got you. I'm never going to bring that up as hey, remember when I fed you? Hey, remember when, you could have starved, but I helped you out? No, I would never have that kind of attitude. Now, when you're doing a favor for someone, like a physical labor favor, and at the beginning be like, all right, I can do this, but hey, just remember this for whenever, if I ever need help with something. To me, that's not a bad thing to say, especially if it's something that's very physically taxing or time consuming. I don't think that's a bad thing to say, especially with how you say it. If one of my friends needs help, moving in their house, and I got to move their own thing, I'm a jokingly but seriously say, all right, now, whenever I get my place and, need to move in, I'm going to call you up for help. And that's going to be my friendly way of saying, just know that I helped you do this, so I expect for you to kind of, help me out if I need it. So that's the big difference between those two. Number 2, you must teach your significant other. So this is mostly for the women, because I've said this on previous podcasts. So if you listen to it, this is reoccurring. If you haven't listened to the previous ones, all I got to say is women tend to have this thing where they say, I shouldn't teach my man how to love me. And that is false. There are certain things, of course, that are common sense, certain respectful things, like, of course, don't put your hands on a woman. Make sure you respect her boundaries, especially if you decide to get with that person. If there are boundaries that were already known beforehand, respect those and stuff like that. But people don't see everything the same way. Everyone is different. When you get into a relationship with someone, their meanings of certain things that happen within a relationship, such as cheating, may differ from the next person you're with. So the fact that there's so many different types of women, different types of men, different type of mindsets, and different type of movement that each person goes through, you kind of have to teach your significant other how to treat you. One girlfriend that a dude might have thought that getting flowers and chocolates and giving them at random is the corniest thing that they've ever heard of, and they don't even care for those things. So maybe the next girl that guy gets with is like somewhat of a cutesy, hopeless romantic, and it's like, why don't you ever get me flowers or chocolates? Well, that man from his past experience was thinking, well, maybe most women just think that is corny and cheesy. It's old school. So they might think that most women don't really appreciate or don't like that kind of gift giving. But you have to let your man know that, hey, I like this. This is how I feel loved. This is how I feel treated. I think that you should, do these things. And also with cheating. So that's a funny thing. A lot of women will sit here and see something that someone said or heard, and they'll be like, oh, could never be me. And be like, a man should know never to do that. And yada, yada, yada. But the thing is, you don't know what that man has been through as far as like learning what cheating is in a relationship. You don't know if that man has even been in relationships. You don't even know what kind of upbringing that man had with learning how to treat women. So when you get with someone, I think it's best to lay those ground rules, or not ground rules, but lay the foundation of your mindset within a relationship. And you should do that before you even get into a relationship, because if you decide to jump into one and then turns out everything that you do and didn't think was that bad of a thing, and she finds it disrespectful, you're going to end up not only butting heads, but creating arguments that didn't need to be created, because of the fact that you guys didn't talk about how you want to be loved, didn't talk about your meanings when it comes to certain things, especially like cheating. To one girl, cheating could be texting another female. Doesn't matter the context, doesn't matter why you did it, cheating. And to another girl, it's not cheating until, you actually like have sex with someone, and I've never done this during never mind, invite expired. If I get another one, I've never done it through the YouTube video while on the podcast, but I'll accept someone trying to join my live on TikTok. Anyway, moving on to the next one. Number 3, sex is not a gift. Once again, this is a little more aimed towards the women's side, because of course, women are seen, when it comes to physical, visual, and just material attraction, women are the breadwinners in that category. And usually, almost always, it is the woman who usually treats their body, whatever their sexual acts, as a replacement for a real gift or for real other materialistic investments. So sex is not a gift, because sex is a two-way street. It'd be one thing if, you were talking about other not so inclusive sexual activities, but usually it leads to just, sex in general. My thing is, yes, sex is great. Sex is fun. Sex is wonderful. I think when it comes to just the pure physicality of it, men are much easier to please and much easier to satisfy than women are. I think that's almost a fact at this point. But at the same time, that does not mean that you get to substitute an actual gift with the offering of sexual favors. It requires almost no effort. It requires no thought, and it requires no catering, like actual catering to your significant other's wants or needs, or just at the moment their interest. And not to get that confused to catering to them sexually. I'm talking about when we're talking in the sense of gifts, because when you give me a gift, it's just like they say, it's not it's not the actual gift, it's the thought that counts. There's no thought to sex. There's no thought to sex. And I think it's lazy. And at the same time, I think that it's a getaway free card when it comes to giving gifts that women usually like to cash in. Um, and also, sex is something that you're supposed to be getting in a relationship. Religious, if we're gonna go religious, especially married people, you have no right to use sex as a gift because sex is supposed to be there. It's supposed to be consistent. It's supposed to happen. So if you're married and you're using sex as a gift, you're actually robbing your significant other of real gifts. Because first of all, the fact that you have to use sex as a gift means that it's not being given often, and the fact that you use it as a gift means that you rather just give the poom poom that you should be giving anyway, as an escape to putting thought and actual effort into getting them a gift, and that is a no-no. Let's see. Number 4. I like to talk about this one. Love languages are important. And the reason I say this is because love language, the way you learn about what your love language is, some people may call it childish because we all had that little phase where we would go like online, those little tests, and be like, what animal are you? Or like, what color is your soul? Or like, what's your spirit animal? Those things. And it's very similar to that little get up, the way you find out what your love languages are. However, people don't understand that love languages give an insight to what you like as a person and how you feel loved and treated. And when you explain your love languages to your significant other, and when they're nice and decent enough and mature enough to take that in and try to treat you according to your love languages, your relationship is going to go through the roof. It's going to take it to a whole nother level off of something that seems so silly at the time. You literally go on the computer, you Google love language test, and you take the test. There's a few websites you can take. I would usually click on like the first 2 links because they give more questions and give you a more in-depth look at how you like to be loved. So you go through that and you learn what it is. Applauser. My wife doesn't top me anymore. Yeah, so I don't really know. No, I mean, I'm not a, of course, therapist or like a marriage counselor, but yeah, I think that sometimes sex falls off, and the longer you're with someone, especially if you're doing consistently, sometimes it's hard to keep, that little spark in the sex life. But my thing is, um, I would rather not do anything different but keep the same amount as when we first started really getting involved with each other than to not only not get spicy in the bedroom every now and then to spice things up, but to go backwards. So just know that, ladies and men, if you start a relationship with somebody and you start doing things for them and doing things to them, don't do anything you're not willing to do for a long time, because I guarantee you, just like what's his name, just like Mr. Apple user, um, when you start giving things and then you take things away, you're going to build up a lot of unconscious resentment within your significant other. Whether they want to resent you or not, they're going to, because you're not getting the same fun things that you used to. And I mean, it's easier said than done because everyone goes through ups and downs in relationships. There are moments where you're probably going to be screwing like rabbits, and then other moments where you barely get it in once a week. But at the same time, if your energy levels and your schedule is not allowing you to give all the energy that you want or needed into it, start to build a schedule for yourself. You can schedule out work, you can schedule out errands, and you can schedule out doing whatever chores, things for your kids that you need to do. If you can do that, you can schedule for sex and bring out all the stops, especially if you did that in the beginning of the relationship. Don't stop now. So, ladies and gentlemen, whatever you start putting in the beginning of that relationship, make sure that you stay consistent, because you will run your significant other off, like if you don't do that. So it's best to pace yourself. How about that? So yes, love languages. Learn them. Give them to your partner. Tell them this is how you want to be loved. And I guarantee you, it'll not fix a lot of things, but it definitely elevate your relationship as far as intimacy and showing them what you want. Um, are you talking from experience? Absolutely. Um, I'm not the most experienced person when it comes to sex. Not the most experienced person when it comes to relationships. However, I have done enough to know the patterns. I've spoken to enough people to know the patterns. Did it fix yours? Um, it did not, only because there was a lot more issues going on in the relationship than just learning or knowing how to be loved. Knowing how to be loved was definitely important, but as far as actual issues happening, it didn't. It's just so much more in the background. Um, love languages is one of those things where it's not a fix all solution, but it's one of those things that makes sure that you can eliminate something off your plate that didn't need to be there. You can eliminate stress and eliminate insecurities that don't need to form in the first place. Because, like I said, it teaches you how to love your partner. My love language number one is quality time. My girl could possibly be gift giving. So for me, I'm the happiest when we're just spending time together. We could be doing nothing. We could be doing our own separate thing in the same room, quality time. But to her, she's loved most when I show her that I'm appreciative of her and that I'm thinking of her by giving her gifts. So me always just doing nothing but just in the space of her, after a while, she's going to feel like she's not being shown enough attention because her love language is gifts. So yeah, she's gonna allocate me by giving me that time in our space where we can just be around each other to help make me happy. But I have to compromise and every now and then or often get her gifts to show that I'm thinking of her. So that's just the give and take you need in a relationship and love languages. Number 5, trust issues do not belong in a relationship. This one is definitely based off experience. Trust issues do not belong in a relationship. I'll say it again. Trust issues do not belong in a relationship. If you yourself can say 100% without a doubt, I have no trust issues, you are ready for a relationship. If it's anything other than that statement going through your head, do not get into a relationship because you will either bring yourself down, bring your significant other down, or both. You're going to ruin the relationship because what trust issues do, trust issues is a virus. Trust issues is a virus that you get from, whoever screwed you over in the past. And what happens is that virus, left untreated, can spread throughout your brain, can take over your emotions, can take over your actions, and it can take over your happiness because of the fact that you got so much going on up here, and you're so worried about what could happen, what might happen, what did happen in the past. You're so worried about that you can't even focus on the good stuff that's happening. Or what you're doing is you're focusing so much on all of that in the moments of peace that you should be having while you two are in your separate areas or out doing your own thing, that peace that you should have is now turning into something that's going to eat you up on the inside. And then those trust issues, when they come out and come at the significant other, then the significant other feels like, well, damn, like you can't trust me. And now it plants in their head that not only do you not trust them, but now they have to do extra work to make sure that you're secure about y'all's relationship. And it's just a big mental spiral that happens for both people because of those trust issues. So if you got done dirty in the past, which many people have, and I hate that many people have, if you've been done dirty in the past and you have those demons sitting in the back of your mind and you do yourself a favor and get help. Or stay within yourself. Stay within yourself until you can absolve yourself of those issues. If you can't do either of those, Do not, I repeat, do not get in a relationship because you will ruin things. Like I said, speaking from experience. All right, so number 6 and the last one, and this is going to be probably my biggest point to drive across to people. Loyalty is not negotiable. Loyalty is not negotiable in relationships. It is not. Don't ever think it is. The fact that it seems like it is sad. It tells you where we are in today's dating game. Loyalty is supposed to be 100% there throughout the relationship. If you agree to a monogamous relationship, so even polygamy has its rules, has its boundaries. So if you agree to a monogamous relationship, loyalty is not something to brag about. It's not something to cherish, because it should be there. I won't say cherish. Yes, cherish it, but it's not something to brag about. It's not something that's a redeeming quality, because it's supposed to be there. Now, we can get scientific if you want to. We can. Do I believe that humans on a biological level are monogamous? I do not think so. However, as a religious Christian man, there is a reason why monogamy is a thing, because of the fact that we're not like animals. We're not like the creatures outside and doing their own thing that are living based off of instinct alone. We have a higher sentient way of thinking. We have a consciousness that's so much different from them, and it's what helps separates humans from the beasts. And by nature, biologically, especially men, no, not monogamous. However, you have choices that you make. You are not a slave to your instincts. Yes, they're strong. Trust me. Hormones be raging. They firing on all cylinders. However, you have choices to make. You don't have to run on instinct alone. You don't have to let it take over. You make your own choices. And not only did you choose to go into a monogamous relationship, a relationship that everyone knows that you should not be cheating, and then if you do cheat, you chose to cheat. You chose to do that. I understand that people make mistakes. People make bad choices. And that's what cheating is. And I don't ever judge anyone that has cheated. Of course, I like to hear the stories out here, why it happened, all that. I never judge anyone that cheated. However, the moral of this story is not to bash cheaters, and it's not to say that cheaters are horrible people. It's to say that loyalty is not something that needs to be bragged about. I remember I watched a podcast recently, and it's the Fresh and Fit podcast, and they went around asking the ladies around the table, and they said, what do you bring to the table other than sex? Almost every woman said loyalty. And I'm watching it, and I'm just like, why is that something that should make you stand out from other people? Everyone loyalty should be everyone's mindset. Everyone's mindset going into a monogamous relationship. Now, of course, people get into relationships and they're not all invested. You know, they don't care. Some people are just thinking that that's, something that happens and oh well, and move on. But you should never think, when you're serious about getting into a relationship and you're serious about someone, saying I'm loyal should not be something you brag about. And it's said that is a bragging. I mean, in today's age, it kind of is a bragging right, because so many people are not loyal, and so many people are running around doing whatever they want, and it's to the point where loyalty is now a benefit. Loyalty is not a benefit, and it's not a benefit; it's a requirement. For a relationship to work, you have to have loyalty. You know what a benefit is? A benefit is a banging hot body. A benefit is millions of dollars in the bank. That's something that is great, wonderful in a relationship, but not needed. Loyalty is needed, because if you don't have loyalty, it's gonna fall apart. That's guaranteed, guaranteed. And if it doesn't fall apart, then they're emotionally, financially, or physically trapped in a relationship, and I hope they get out. So that's the gist of it. Like it's just as simple as that. Loyalty is not optional. It's not optional. Um, I actually went through those fairly quickly. It's probably my quickest podcast. I actually enjoyed that. Give a quicker one for you guys and just to run down everything, give you a breakdown, make it a little simpler, make it a little quicker for those who don't have too much time to just invest in my podcast. But I thank everyone who came to give this a listen to. Please feel free to comment down below if there's any other topics that you want me to discuss or to go over. Any questions, concerns, or comments about this video, and just let me know what you think. I'm glad that I was able to be better with keeping up with comments on my TikTok live. I was able to do that pretty well. So yeah, that's just about it. Like I said, like and subscribe because it is free. You don't have to do anything but click 2 buttons, and that's it. But anyway, thank you so much for joining and podcast. Definitely going to have some more coming to you, more ideas constantly coming in. Let me stop clicking this pen because Mike's probably picking it up. But anyway, I love you guys. I shall see you at a later date, and be easy.